Things King Charles can do that you can't. Drive a car without a license. Usually, the king is chauffeured to engagements, but occasionally he likes to get behind the wheel. And he can do so without a driver's license. Avoid getting arrested. The king doesn't ever have to worry about getting locked up. He has sovereign immunity, and therefore can never be prosecuted. Travel internationally without a passport. Since all British passports are issued in the name of the king himself, he isn't required to have one. However, other members of the royal family aren't granted this right. Own unclaimed swans in the UK. Dating back to the 12th century, the monarch is technically the owner of any and all unclaimed swans swimming in open waters in the UK. Skip paying taxes. As a sovereign, the king is exempt from paying taxes. However, he followed his mother's lead and decided to voluntarily pay taxes on income, assets, and gains that aren't used for official royal purposes. Declare war. Another special power granted to the king is that he can declare war and peace. He can also send troops to an area of armed conflict. Avoid jury duty. It used to be that the entire royal family was exempt from being called to jury duty, as it was believed it would cause disruption for the late queen. But in 2003 the law was amended and only the reigning monarch is now exempt. Decide what jewelry is loaned out. For formal occasions, such as state dinners and royal weddings, the king decides which jewels and tiaras from the late queen's collection can be loaned to family members. Decide when dinner ends. According to royal etiquette, when the king is done with his dinner, the meal is officially over. So you better eat quickly at Buckingham Palace. Give out knighthoods. The king can grant a knighthood to any citizen for their achievements or service to their country. The ceremony, known as an investiture, takes place at Buckingham Palace. Grant a criminal pardon. King Charles III has the power to grant the royal prerogative mercy, which pardons an individual of any criminal punishment. The late Queen issued the special order in 2020 to pardon a convicted felon who saved the lives of British citizens in a London terror attack. Have a private ATM. Imagine never having to rush to an ATM before closing time. That's the case for the king, as he has a private ATM in the basement of Buckingham Palace. Provided by the British Bank, Coutts, it's only available to the royal family. Keep his finances private. The king and the royal family are exempt from the Freedom of Information Act, which grants the British public the ability to access any information held by the government. However, the royals do disclose their use of public money each year. Own all the dolphins in the UK. Due to a rule that goes back to the 14th century, the king technically owns all the dolphins, whales, sturgeons, and porpoises in the waters around the UK. Take legal custody of his grandchildren. This law goes back to King George I, who ruled in the early 1700s. He passed the law because he had a bad relationship with his son, the future King George II. This way he became the guardian of his grandchildren. Dismiss a prime minister. Even if he can't vote or state his political opinions publicly, the king has the power to dismiss a prime minister. However, it must be an extreme case for him to act.